I want to bring in Chris Broussard, live in New York, joining us. My guy, Chris Broussard, co-host First Things First. So I did my NBA bubble. I don't buy Houston. I don't think they have a chance to win the title. They can't shoot. I don't buy Memphis either, a bit too young. But I did my NBA bubble. The Knicks are the closest team that if they got a little bit of a health break and everybody was healthy, I have them out. But what's interesting for our radio audience, Nuggets, OKC, Warriors, Lakers, I think the two best teams in the league are Boston and Cleveland. Those are the two best. But I got to tell you, I'm almost shocked I have the Warriors in there. They're on fire without Kuminga. And I don't think we're realizing here, they're more efficient. They do things that matter in the playoffs. Efficient, get to the free throw line, defend, experience, without Kuminga. Do I have the Warriors overvalued, or do you similarly see them as a team that could absolutely win the Western Conference?
Yeah, I said yesterday I think the Lakers are winning the West, and I feel good about that. But certainly OKC and Denver are right there. And I do think the Warriors are the fourth team in the West. And I'll give them a shot because everything you said was right. They obviously have the shooting. Jimmy Butler gives them some things they did not have. They did not have the great mid-range player. That's right. Now they do. They did not have the guy that gets to the foul line a lot. Now they do. Now, in addition to Draymond, they got another tough, hard-nosed guys that can bother opponents and put a little bit of fear. I mean, they're NBA players. They're not scared. But, he's a tough guy, Jimmy Butler, like Draymond, and that gives you a good identity as well. And defensively, they already were a good team. Now they're going to be even better with Butler. And you're absolutely right. People are forgetting, even though they're 9-1 now with Butler, Kuminga will be back.
Yes.
And he's athletic. He's long. He can score. They don't quite have the shooting that they've had in some of the years where they won championships, but they still have good shooting. I give them a shot. Now, again, I would pick the Lakers and probably Denver over them. OKC is certainly better. My question about OKC is their youth. Colin, they would be the youngest team ever to reach or win the NBA Finals.
Wow.
And I think that's a factor. We just don't see young teams win championships. Last year, sure, they took some lumps when they lost to Dallas in the second round, but that's 1 year. Like, they may need to. Jordan took longer. Isaiah took longer. LeBron took longer. You got to take some lumps usually before you win in this league. And I think OKC just hadn't taken enough. So I'm fine with putting Golden State in there. I would be a tad bit surprised if they do come out of the West. But I do think they've really improved themselves, and they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
Okay, finally, I said this yesterday. Here's the upside to losing. The Knicks can't beat Cleveland, OKC, or Boston. And they may not, after tonight, be able to beat the Lakers. And right. I think this is great. Because where organizations get in trouble is when people inside the executive suite, the owner, disagree. They need another star. And I love OG and McHale and Brunson and Robinson. But they need another star, and nobody can argue it in that building. There is nobody saying we're good enough to win. You're not good enough to beat Cleveland. I've watched you play Boston. The game's over 8 minutes in. I think moving Cat, OG, and 4 draft picks to get Giannis is the move. I think you have to make a big swing. I wouldn't give up Brunson. I'd move anybody. But they've been very, very patient the last 2 years. Now, I'm just saying they have no chance to get to the finals.
Right.
You live in New York. Do you think it's understood? Because I think it's very clear is they got to get another guy. They're well run. They got good chemistry. They're a big stud shy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when they lost those 2 big blowouts to Boston and Cleveland recently, that's when the Knicks fans accepted, okay, we're not on that level. They're right in between. They're better than, like you said, you had them right outside the bubble.
Yep.
They're better than just about everybody else outside of the bubble, but they can't beat the teams in the bubble.
Right.
And as you said, tonight, I think they'd be 0-8 if they lose tonight to the top 2 seeds in both conferences. Yes, I love getting Giannis. I mean, who's going to argue against that if they can do that? But look, and I hate to say this, Colin, because I have nothing but respect for him. I've known Thibodeau since he was an assistant with Jeff Van Gundy when I was covering the team for the New York Times. But it might be they might need a coaching change. And I know that's a risk because Thibodeau typically gets the most out of teams. But getting rid of Tibbs would not be because he can't coach. Obviously, he's a very good coach. I would look at it more as when Golden State moved on from Mark Jackson. We've just hit the ceiling with this guy, and is there someone else who can bring us to another level? We've seen it this year. Look at Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland. Nobody thought Cleveland could do this, and he's taken them to another level. You're somewhat seeing it in Detroit with J.B. Bickerstaff. He's doing a good job there as well. And so that might be something. If they can't make the big trade for a Giannis or somebody like that, then I think that might be what they need to look at. Because, Colin, to have two legitimate stars now, which they do in Brunson and Towns, and some really good role players around them, I mean, that's what teams are made up of today. Nobody really has the three stars for the most part. It's two stars and then players that fit around them. Anunoby, Bridges, I mean, Hart, these are some really good role players.
Yes.
So if they can't get a Giannis or somebody like that, as much as I hate to say it, they might have to look at, do we need to make a coaching change?
Yeah. Chris Broussard, first things first, after our show, he doesn't have to do this for us. He's a busy guy, got a great family. We appreciate you stopping by and chopping it up on the NBA. Great second half. Thanks, man.
You know I love it, man. Good talking with you.